Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We're working on the Comedy of Errors, and today we get to hear from Adriana in Act 2, Scene 2, because remember there aren't scene breaks, there's act delineations, but not scene delineations in the folio. But anyway, just for ease of navigation, this is Act 2, Scene 2. Adriana is the wife of Antipholus of Ephesius, and we are in Ephesius right now. Antipholus of Syracuse was discovered by Dromio of Ephesius, who Adriana had sent to try to find Antipholus of Ephesius. But since the Antipholuses look completely identical and the two Dromios look completely identical, we have all this mistaken identity stuff going on. So when Dromio of Ephesius went to find Antipholus of Ephesius, he found Antipholus of Syracuse. And Antipholus of Syracuse thought that he was talking to Dromio of Syracuse at the time. So this miscommunication led to Dromio of Ephesius getting beaten. He went back and told Adriana, you know, your husband's acting all kinds of crazy. So she thinks that her husband is now possibly cheating on her, has lost interest in her, maybe he's going to leave her, all that sort of thing. She sent Dromio of Ephesius back out to try to find her husband again and make him come home because he's late for dinner. Meantime, at the beginning of Act 2, Scene 2, we have Antipholus of Syracuse rediscovered by Dromio of Syracuse. So now I've got the two guys that were actually traveling together. And Antipholus was like, so are you going to tell me about my wife some more and how I'm late for dinner? And Dromio's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So Antipholus beats him because I guess that's his go-to move. And they have some back and forth while they're trying to sort out, no, but we just had this conversation an hour ago. No, but you just gave me money and I haven't seen you since, like all that sort of stuff. And there's fun wordplay and dealing with the dynamics of master and servant and all of that sort of stuff. But then Adriana apparently didn't trust Dromio to find Antipholus, so she and Luciana have come out into the city to try to find him herself, and she stumbles upon Antipholus of Syracuse, who, remember, is not her husband, but looks exactly like him. So she finds him, and she says, I, Antipholus, look strange, and frown. Some other mistress hath thy sweet aspect. I am not Adriana, nor thy wife. The time was once when thou, unurged, wouldst vow that never words were music to thine ear, that never object pleasing in thine eye, that never touch well welcomed to thy hand, that never meat sweet savored in thy taste, unless I spake, or looked, or touched, or carved to thee. How comes it now, my husband, oh, how comes it, that thou art then estranged from thyself? Thyself, I call it, being strange to me, that undividable incorporate, am better than thy dear self's better part. Oh, do not tear away thyself from me, for know, my love, as easy mayst thou fall, a drop of water in the breaking gulf, and take unmingled thence that drop again, without addition or diminishing, as take me from thyself, and not me too. How dearly would it touch thee to the quick, shouldst thou but hear I were licentious, and that this body consecrate to thee by ruffian lust should be contaminate. Wouldst thou not spit at me, and spurn at me, and hurl the name of husband in my face, and tear the stained skin of my harlot brow, and from my false hand cut the wedding ring, and break it with a deep divorcing vow? I know thou canst, and therefore see thou do it. I am possessed with an adulterate blot. My blood is mingled with the crime of lust. For if we two be one, and thou play false, I do digest the poison of thy flesh, being strumpeted by thy contagion. Keep then fair league and truce with thy true bed. I live disdained, thou undishonored. So she's given him a piece of her mind, is what's going on here. She's like, there was a time when I was your world and I was your everything and nothing was good to you unless I was involved in it. So how is it now that you don't even recognize me or acknowledge me or anything? She's like, when we became married, we became so enmeshed with one another that it's as easy to take us apart as it is to drop a drop of water in the ocean and get that exact drop back out again without any additional drops or without losing any of it. And she's like, if you're running around cheating on me, imagine if I had like been raped, you would call me a harlot and you would spit at me and all this sort of stuff, and what happened to me would stain you. So your actions right now, while you're disowning me and looking at other women, all that sort of stuff, is staining me and staining my honor. And that's not cool. So she gives him this huge piece of her mind, and he's like, I've only been in this city for 2 hours and I have no idea who you are. And Luciana steps up to, defend Adriana, and she's like, how can you say that about your wife? And Antipholus keeps insisting that he's not her husband, and she keeps insisting that he is, and she's got a little bit more to say on that front, which will be tomorrow's monologue. But it's the comedy of errors, this main error being mistaken identities. So it's fun, it's farcical, there's lots of beating of Dromio. And in their back and forth, Antipholus is like, Dromio, did you talk to her? Because she's like, I sent him to go get you, and he said that you're acting crazy. And Dromio's like, I've never seen this woman before in my life. So it's all very, very messy at this point in the play, and it's just going to get a little bit messier when we hear a little bit more from Adriana tomorrow. So I'll see you then for that. Mwah.